His every waking thought, just that little man getting spanked on the buttocks.
That's right.
We're trying to figure out who this little weirdo is. Welcome to the season finale of Mystery Files, where we take a deep dive into cases that span from the creepy to the truly bizarre and everything in between. I'm Shane, and today I'll be forcing my colleague Ryan to hear all about the unnerving Max Headroom incident. In the end, you'll have to decide if the mystery is solved or if it's simply a mystery.
You are back. You look very studious.
I guess so. Well, I wanted to, channel cable jacker vibes.
Oh, I see. I guess like if you were like crawling around like the upper crawl space.
I've got, little satellites, dishes.
Those are like library glasses in like a blue collar setting.
I sort of feel like Emilio Estevez in the first scene of Mission Impossible. We're talking about Max Headroom. Do you know this man?
I know he was a man.
He's a character, though. Do you know that?
Like a fictional character?
He is not a real guy.
Oh, something happened to him?
Maybe. Now, before we get into it, a word from our sponsor.
Hey, little fella, what you doing?
I told you to stop calling me that. And you know exactly what I'm doing.
No, I don't.
We've done this a million times.
Well, why don't you give me a hint?
Banking.
More specific.
Financial independence.
Less specific.
I'm tracking my spending, Shane.
Ugh.
You mind? Thanks.
No.
Yes.
No, Ryan. Look, sometimes life can get as crazy as this guy over here, and it seems like there's a million different ways to do everything. But there's a wrong way, right there, and there's a right way. If you need to track your money, your loans, stocks, savings, all in one place, just use SoFi Insights, our sponsor for today's video. SoFi is an all-in-one finance app that helps you bank, borrow, and invest all in one handy place. SoFi Insights makes it easy to know where you stand financially and keeps you on track to hit your financial goals. SoFi Insights allows you to link all of your accounts together, even non-SoFi accounts, and it's free to use. It has excellent features that track your spending, recurring expenses, and monitor your credit score. The little weekly updates are lifesavers, especially if you're preparing for a big purchase and need to track your credit habits, which doesn't hurt your credit score and even gives you cash reward points when your score goes up. So you get rewarded and it doesn't cost a dime, which is beautiful. Sign up for SoFi Insights at SoFi.com/Watcher and activate credit score monitoring and earn up to $10 in rewards points. And you can sign up for Insights at no cost. Get on top of it. Sign up with the link below or the QR code right around here. Don't be Ryan. Don't be like him, okay? He's not a role model. This is a bad guy we're talking about, okay? Big thank you to SoFi, and now, back to the show. November 22nd, 1987, pre-Bean, Chicago, 9:13 p.m. Overcast. A northeasterly breeze moving at 23 miles per hour, but unseasonably warm at a sweltering 48.9 degrees. The people of the Windy City and its beautiful surrounding suburbs like Schaumburg, Hanover Park, Hoffman Estates, and yes, even Elk Grove, were getting an update on a Bears victory over the Detroit Lions from popular local sportscaster Dan Roan on Channel 9's 9 o'clock news. Now at 9:14 p.m., that all changed. TVs tuned into the channel flickered, and around the city, screens went black. In the control room of WGN-TV, technicians were in shock. They were being hijacked.
Well, how old were you when this happened?
1 year old, maybe less.
So you possibly could have been in front of the tube.
I could have been staring at it, watching Dan Roan on WGN News.
Yeah. Mama, black, screen black.
Well, the screen would be flashing, and I'd probably be like walking toward it, hypnotized.
So you couldn't have done this then?
If I did, I don't remember, because I was just a little baby.
You could have been like a baby genius.
I could have been a baby genius.
Are you one of the suspects?
I guess you'll have to wait and see.
Oh, shit.
Suddenly, a figure bound into frame wearing a brown suit and a rubber mask with dark glasses, slicked back blonde hair, and a haunting frozen smirk.
McMahon and McKinnon 14-0 Bears. Then the defense, which hadn't put up a sack in 12 quarters, finally did.
What the fuck's going on with the telly? Jesus Christ.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. Actually, the computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the top of the Bears and tell you once again about the 30-10 victory they had over Detroit today out at Soldier Field.
He said that was because of a computer?
He makes it sound like the computer came to life.
Yeah, he makes it sound like that guy is inside the computer and that's how the computer works, and he was just trying to figure it out.
That man is the artificial intelligence who controls our news station.
Yeah, that's Compy, the guy who lives in our computer. Sorry you had to see that.
I like that he didn't say anything during this. It's extra scary. He's just sort of like, hi.
It's unnerving. If I saw that live, I'd be fucking freaked out that we were about to get nuked or something like that.
I agree. I'm trying to think of like the biggest live oopsies I've seen. I guess there was Janet Jackson's nipple, which we celebrate.
Nothing that tops this.
No, this is really good.
And I got to give it to Dan Cohn.
Dan Roan.
Dan Roan. Good job.
Yeah.
You're making me feel safe by talking about Compy, the guy who lives in the computer.
Oh, the computer went a little wild.
Back to your cage, Compy.
The man, unknown. The mask, however, was recognizable. Max Headroom, a popular character created in 1985 in Britain as, quote, the world's first computer-generated TV host. In this case, AI actually gave an artist a job instead of taking it away, since Max was played by actor and comedian Matt Frewer. Now, the character became a cult personality, notorious for his sharp wit, and because, capitalism, etc., the dark cyberpunk parody about technology and media was given an ad campaign for New Coke, a late-night talk show, and eventually an hour-long series on ABC. The show premiered earlier that year but was canceled only weeks before the hijacking after losing a ratings battle against Miami Vice, which,
what are you gonna
juggernaut.
Ain't got those ratings in a vice grip.
But that's pretty funny. He started out as like this edgy guy, and then he was in Coca-Cola commercials.
Yeah.
What would you sell your soul for?
Probably like Orville Redenbacher
Good
or
brand.
Like some sort of like popcorn brand. Disneyland?
There's a lot I think you would.
There's a fair amount.
Yeah.
It's easy to buy me.
Back to Chicago, where a maniac buzzing in a mask just hijacked the attention of thousands of viewers.
Thousands?
Yeah, it was.
It's just local TV. Oh, I see.
Local news.
Okay.
I don't know what their ratings are on those things.
At least 100,000. Like, how many people are in Chicago?
Well, 100,000 is still thousands.
But hundreds of thousands is like
100,000 is still thousands.
Hundreds of thousands
Technically
of people.
still thousands.
Hundreds of thousands would be a better way to communicate that. Thousands makes me feel like there was like 3,000 people to
Hush! Sorry. After about 30 seconds, WGN's technicians regained control. Screens were back on the sportscaster. As we saw, chipper but a little nervous. WGN's technicians immediately began to hunt for the culprit in the building, suspecting an inside job, to no avail. And Max was just getting started. At 11:15 p.m., Max struck his next victim. Channel 11, WTTW, the window to the world. The PBS affiliate was in the middle of an episode of Doctor Who called The Horror of Fang Rock. This time, Max refined his technique. He was in control of the channel's transmission for 1 minute and 22 seconds. Now, also with audio, though most of his words were barely intelligible. That first one was a little bit of a dry run.
He's not going to be wanking it in this next one, is he?
Well, it gets a little spicy.
The only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink, mate.
Some dry clothing.
Ugh. Oh, what the f...
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock and died instantly.
That is one hell of a director's cut.
It's really good.
These people are very fortunate that this guy decided to just dance around in a mask and not like cut to a clip of him like fucking or something like that.
It's got big Joker vibes.
And then all of a sudden, he's getting his bare ass spanked by a fly swatter. And
Yeah.
It's like, well, there it is.
Yeah.
That's haunting.
There's a part at the very beginning when he laughs, and it sounds like the laugh you do sometimes, a little.
If I was there, I would have been making robot noises. I would have had a blast. Oh man, this is great. So we're gonna try and figure out who this is?
We're trying to figure out who this little weirdo is.
I hope we don't figure it out.
You want it to remain a mystery?
I don't want this guy to ever get caught.
Within hours, agents from the FCC, FBI, and other federal agencies were on the case. Phil Bradford, an FCC spokesman, hoping to deter other pranksters feeling inspired by the evening's antics, told reporters the next day, quote, "I would like to inform anybody involved in this kind of thing that there's a maximum penalty of $100,000, 1 year in jail, or both."
It's not that bad.
No, I'd do it.
100K would ruin your life, I guess. But
Yeah.
But the 1 year in jail, I was expecting like 50 years in jail or something.
You're gonna put this guy in jail for wearing a fun little mask and he has bomb spanked?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
I wouldn't.
Imagine having to explain to your kids,
I guess, you know.
why was his bare ass getting spanked?
I'd be like, because
Why
I
was-
guess he was very naughty.
By the way, FCC being the, what is it?
Bunch of losers. Anytime
Yeah.
like a nipple pops up or someone says a C word, a B word.
No, I'm
a F
sure. I'm
word,
sure in,
they're
you
like,
know.
You can't do that. That's why we do stuff here on Watch Entertainment. We can talk about whatever we want.
That's right.
We don't have to deal with
Control
that
Center
FCC
probably
bullshit.
Can you imagine what they look like when?
Fuck you, FCC.
You know, the Janet Jackson nipple incident.
They
The guy
got so mad.
spit his coffee all over
We've
his
all
laptop.
got it. Some people don't have nipples. I'm sure there's someone.
A booby!
I'm sure someone in history was born without nipples, but we've all got nipples, all right? Now, in fact, this type of hacking of the airwaves, whether viewed as a prank or potential act of terror, had become a national problem in the past year or so. The first incident occurred at HBO. For roughly 4 minutes at 12:32 a.m., a movie was interrupted by a written message from Captain Midnight, a vigilante protesting the increasing cost of the subscription service. It read, "Good evening, HBO. From Captain Midnight. $12.95 a month? No way! Showtime/movie channel. Beware." I guess he's warning the other channels because there's Showtime and the movie channel.
Did Captain Midnight start his own streaming service?
Good name for a vigilante.
How easy is it to hijack feeds? We should start doing this ourselves and just start playing like the, you know, like the Mystery Files trailer.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it happens much these days. Can you imagine if that happened on this show?
Oh, that would never happen.
That would never happen.
just like it never happened.
The guy is a freaking nerd. You find a wave and try to hold on. I just made a giant masterpiece for all the Watch Entertainment nerds. For guys wearing blue diapers and they're dirty. They sent me to the past, but I'm back, Jack. Oh, yeah.
I don't think you should have confessed to that on camera, honestly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had to get out eventually.
You did what you did, I guess. Well, Captain Midnight was caught within days. His name was John McDougal, and he was a Central Florida-based satellite technician, angry because raising prices hurt his side business selling satellite TV equipment. The punishment for his little crime? The chair.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No, none of these people went full Joker. But as an ABC correspondent said at the time, quote, "In the wrong hands, this new form of jamming would be no laughing matter."
They called it jamming?
Jamming.
That's fucking cool.
Jamming, baby.
That makes me want to do it more.
Jamming.
Someone should have been jamming while eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh, jamming and jamming and jamming.
A triple jam.
A triple jam. Now, others were concerned that broadcast signal intrusion could permanently damage expensive satellite equipment. McDougal was forced to plead guilty to charges of transmitting without a radio license, a violation of federal law, and was given a year-long probation and a $5,000 fine.
It's not that bad.
Not that bad.
No.
Actually, considering the inflation rate, I guess $12.95 a month is pretty
It's
expensive.
pretty hefty. He might have had a
Is
point.
that just for HBO?
Can we find out if they lowered their prices after this?
I don't think they did. Because then they have to listen to any signal jammer who comes along.
I'm writing down Captain Midnight, hero.
Hero.
Question mark.
Certainly a man of the people. Now, the problem was Captain Midnight technically was licensed to transmit. It was a legal gray area that was not likely to hold up in court again.
Wait a second.
What?
How?
Because he worked in installing satellites and stuff.
So the guy who set up my cable service?
This was the 80s, man.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Shit was weird, I think. Within months, Congress passed legislation officially outlawing satellite jamming. But hackers were not deterred. In September of 1987, just 2 months before Max took over Chicago's airwaves, Playboy TV was hacked by a zealot who put up messages for viewers to repent and find Jesus. Boo!
Yeah, that's
boo! Boo! Don't push your politics on me, pal.
Thus saith the Lord thy God, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
And keep in mind, this is on the Playboy channel.
That's on the Playboy channel?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that fucking rules then. Wait, this probably isn't an actual zealot. This person probably thinks it's funny that if somebody was watching Playboy TV mid-wank, all of a sudden they get Jesus propaganda. How funny is that?
Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
That's what I'm saying. I
think this is someone just sticking it.
They're sticking
for
it to
lack of
someone
a
who's
better
already
word.
sticking it.
Yeah. Now, once again, the hacker was quickly caught. And once again, an industry man, a technician who worked for the Christian Broadcasting Network. But Max was different. He used video instead of text. He had a physical location and an accomplice, and he gave investigators plenty of footage to analyze.
And this person was caught, as was Captain Midnight.
Right, exactly.
So Max really not only revolutionized the medium, but never was caught. Therefore, goated.
Or was he caught? It's a mystery. We'll find out.
I hope not.
Now, Dr. Michael Marcus, then Assistant Bureau Chief in the FCC's Field Operations Bureau, helped catch Captain Midnight and the Playboy hacker, and became the lead investigator on the Headroom case.
These Avenger movies are getting weird.
Now, Marcus says the culprit didn't require expensive equipment, but, quote, it had to be someone who knew the technology, maybe a broadcast techie, but there were other techies who could figure it out also. He also said his investigation was held up by other agents. Quote, the head man in Chicago said, what am I supposed to do? I said, you have the video. Go to the place where you think it was filmed.
I just love seeing him dance around, and then it cuts to a talking head of some pissed off old white guy who's like, we're gonna catch this son of a bitch.
Yeah, imagine this man's face just haunting the investigator.
I know, I love it.
His every waking thought, just that little man getting spanked on the buttocks.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, Max could have been caught from two possible locations. First, the place where the signal hijack began. In this case, receivers atop the John Hancock Building and Sears Tower, meaning the culprit had to be way up there, possibly in a high-rise apartment or a rooftop somewhere between the two studios, somewhere on the north side of Chicago. There's the Hancock. You'd have to be all the way up there.
Okay, that's the one jam point.
That's a jam point.
Jam point one.
Note the jam point. And then there was the location where Max filmed. Marcus went into Sherlock mode and described, quote, the background looked to be about 8 feet wide. Industrial type metal, maybe a roll down warehouse door. From that alone, they were able to come up with a suspect who worked at a company with access to a warehouse where it could have been filmed.
Holy shit.
Pretty impressive. I know he thinks it's a warehouse door, and it does look like some sort of like corrugated metal, but it seems like just a piece of it, ribboned metal that is like, has a sort of a pivot point behind him that is just sort of swaying back and forth.
I like the thought, and I like that they're committing this many resources to finding this guy.
They're doing what they can with what they got. They never had enough evidence to investigate the suspect formally. Now, most in the industry believe it had to be an insider. Al Skirkowitz, a broadcast engineer for WTTW, had just arrived at work when he learned of the broadcast interruption, and in the wake of the incident was a part of the discussions with the union, maintenance staff, and director of engineering. He theorized, quote, it had to be a broadcast engineer, a satellite engineer, or a ham radio operator, and probably a combination of at least two of those in order to pull this off.
Huh. I mean, it's an impressive feat.
It clearly involved a lot of smarts and planning, all for a man getting spanked on the ass.
It wouldn't have killed this guy to do a couple glute workouts.
I didn't get a super good look at it.
They looked a little flat.
Some people can't help that.
Yeah, I know. You got that Mead notebook ass.
Well, I'm wearing a, sort of a tree trunk of an outfit.
Your ass looks like a waffle iron.
I got some real meat
Or like
back
something
there.
that would use to smash tortillas.
Around the city and the country, people were talking about it. Even though the internet didn't exist yet, there were digital spaces where other hackers were devoted to figuring out the mystery.
Oh my God, could you imagine if this happened in Twitter age? Like if Joe Biden was out in the Rose Garden giving like a White House like brief, he gets hijacked by this? Twitter would be a fucking blast that that
It would be
thing.
fun. On Chicago's computer bulletin board systems, one person with the handle The Chameleon
Nice.
claimed to have studied broadcast interception extensively. And in the morning on November 24th, 1987, 2 days after the event, he wrote, rather threateningly, quote, "We'll strike again. I can guarantee it." When another bulletin user asked him to elaborate, he wrote, quote, "Hardly an inside job. They just aimed their transmitter at the same transponder that WGN uses and used a higher power. Doesn't even have to be significantly higher, just more. And the WGN signal will cancel out. As I said before, it's one of those things that doesn't work out on paper, but it works. Welcome to Earth, where everything you know is wrong."
Dude, I fucking love this guy.
I mean, I hope this is Max Headroom and he's just like, well, I can't fully out myself, but I'm gonna get out there and drop some bombs.
Do you think this person could conceivably keep their mouth shut?
Sure.
Serial killers. They usually will taunt because they can't take the fact that people just forget about things and move on.
Yes.
There's no fucking way this guy has kept his mouth shut the entirety of his existence on Earth. This might be him.
Well, also, I think this time is interesting because this is the era where this kind of technology was easier to acquire.
You just go to Radio Shack and now you're ready
the
to hack.
rise of Radio Shack.
Radio hack.
Radio Hack. I like that. Now, somehow, the "we" part of that message was largely glossed over when he said, "We will strike again."
Yeah.
Kind of odd.
So is the chameleon a suspect?
Maybe. With that, it's corkboard time. Let's get into the suspects. Suspect 1. As noted, several of the suspects worked in the industry. Some message board sleuths pointed to Chicago radio DJ Jonathan Brandmeier, who was the popular host of a morning show at the WLUP, aka The Loop. My parents really liked old Johnny B.
Oh, yeah?
He was a bad boy.
I guess so.
Now, critics speculated that he had worked as an employee and engineer at WGN briefly and held a grudge against them, though it does not seem he was employed by them until decades later.
Do you ever try and hack BuzzFeed?
All the time.
Yeah, me too.
The interesting thing, Jonathan Brandmeier was sort of like a cocky DJ at the time, so
Okay.
it would be kind of a weird flex for him to be like, let me do a crime.
Perhaps he's the chameleon who said, "Welcome to Earth, where everything you know is wrong." We should start saying that at the beginning of the show.
Welcome to Mystery Files, where everything you know is wrong. Now, Chameleon, feel free to come at us and press charges.
I was about to say, that's the best part. He can't come after us because he can't reveal his identity.
Now, others on the message boards pointed to Al Skirkowitz. Remember this guy?
Is that your Wi-Fi password?
No, that's the station.
Oh, okay.
Window to the World. It's a PBS affiliate.
Cool.
Now, Al Skirkowitz, you may remember, was one of the WTTW broadcast engineers at the time of the incident. However, Skirkowitz continued to work at the station for over 40 years.
Wow.
And in 2020, he spoke to a podcast of the impact of the hack. He said, quote, "For broadcast operations to be interjected that way, it's a serious invasion. It's like somebody breaking into your house. To have somebody take that over from you became sort of personal for every one of our engineering staff." You know, people were like, maybe he's the inside man, but he clearly took it very personally. Unless
The double bluff. Or the bluff. No, is that just a bluff? That's a bluff.
double bluff would be him like, oh yeah, I did it. It was me.
yeah,
A guy like me could do that.
Yeah, so that's just a bluff. He could be bluffing.
But also, WTTW, it's a very polite channel. You know, everyone who works there is pretty chill.
They're showing like Wishbone and Yizabumafoo and all that shit, right?
Exactly right. Suspect 3. For many years, another popular suspect was performance artist and musician Eric Fournier.
Oh.
Best known as the later creator of a YouTube series called Chez St. John that he starred in and is exactly the creepy, surreal early YouTube internet fever dream that you might expect.
They're performance artists. I could see that. This is performance, and it is art.
Now, theorists say that Fournier's style and showmanship were giving similar vibes as the Max Headroom hacker. Now, at the time, Fournier was a teenager living in Bloomington, Indiana, and was part of a punk band called The Blood Farmers.
How close is that?
Bloomington, Indiana, it's not far, maybe like an hour or two away. Now, proponents think that Eric may have wanted to broadcast one of their music videos, but reverted to a singular performance instead so as not to jeopardize his bandmates. His former bandmate describes the theory as, ridiculous bullshit, and says, quote, Eric didn't know anything about video editing when we were in high school. We never made music videos apart from someone maybe videotaping one of our shows. We weren't friends with anyone getting degrees in mass communication and had no access to broadcasting equipment. I think the only time the four of us were ever in Chicago together was to see a Pixies concert at the Riviera. I love that.
This could be just a bro sticking up for his bro.
Sounds like a bro sticking up for his bro,
Or
but
covering for his bro.
Yeah, could be.
Weird thing for this guy to be like,
Hey, man.
he doesn't know anything about multimedia, and it's like, he had a YouTube channel, so.
Yeah, but you've seen some of those YouTube channels, man. What, you think it takes a genius?
Sometimes I do think it takes a genius.
A whole team of them. Now, Ryan, I got a question. Like you said, bros sticking up for bros.
Yeah.
What if I had done this? And someone came to you and said, we've got our suspicions that it might be old Shane Madej over there in Schaumburg, Illinois. He was 1 year old, but we got our suspicions.
Or I'd give them your home address.
You just rat me out?
Probably give them the office address,
If
too.
you did it, I would be proud of you, and I would not tell anybody.
Oh, I'd tell them immediately.
You're nasty. You're a nasty guy.
I'm just kidding.
I knew you were.
I'd tell them Stephen Lim did it.
Now, I would do that, too. Now, that'd be funny. Watch his ass go to prison.
Yeah, watching them slap the cuffs on Stephen Lim.
Meanwhile, we're like...
Look at him go.
Fournier passed away in 2010.
Oh.
So sad.
R.I.P.
But his friends and family maintain that while he would have been amused by the accusation, he was innocent in this case.
I love that his family being like, he didn't do it, but it's pretty funny.
It was pretty funny.
Big fans.
All right, so our final suspects. Now, these last two came into the public imagination over 2 decades after the incident, when Bowie Pogue shared a viral thread on Reddit, claiming to have first-hand knowledge of the hackers from his time as a young and crusty pre-internet cyberpunk.
It was an AMA.
This AMA says, I believe I know who was behind the Max Headroom incident that occurred on Chicago TV in 1987. A bunch of people have been asking me about this lately, so I figured I'd do a core dump, AMA.
A core dump?
I guess core dump means like, I'll tell you everything I know. you
Very
know?
different version for me.
Now, at the time of the incident, Pogue was actually only 13 years old, but he was eager to make friends within the ranks of Chicago hackers, which is how he came across 2 brothers at least twice his age that he believed to be the culprits, whom he called J and K.
Cool, the guys from Men in Black.
I didn't even put that together, but you're right. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
I fucking knew it. In between punching cockroaches, they're like, hey, let's
have a little fun.
Let's hijack the Chicago local news.
They seem like the kind of guys who'd get up to this.
It just occurred to me this would be 2 people because there was somebody spanking.
The way that the spanking cuts in makes me think that part of it is pre-recorded.
But at the very least, there's 2 people who know about it. There's a spanky,
Right.
and there's a spanker.
Seems like there would have to be multiple people, though. You're right.
I'd paint my butt cheeks blue.
Like the Blue Man Group?
Well, that's because they wouldn't be able to know what I am. I clearly could see that this was a Caucasian male.
Right.
Those butt cheeks were pale as snow.
Those
So,
looked exactly like mine.
I can't imagine your cheeks see much daylight.
No, they're like porcelain. They actually look like this.
Yeah.
Now, Jay was the younger brother, and Pogue describes him as having savant syndrome. Quote, Jay knew a great deal about not just the broadcast spectrum, as you can see here, but the electronics that underpinned that sort of stuff. He was a broadcast hacker. Pogue described that Jay was strange and socially awkward, largely cared for by his older brother, Kay, who worked for a telephone company, and, quote, was very normal looking by anyone's standards. And along with Kay's girlfriend, M, obviously is
Oh, cool.
her name. Now, J, K, and M actually all lived together in Kay's apartment about 10 miles or so from downtown Chicago. We've got a lady who could be sporting a fly swatter.
I
Nasty
can't
boy,
remember
nasty boy, nasty
if
boy.
I saw the hand. Was it a
I
particularly...
think it looked like a lady. Now, Pogue claimed the day of the Max Headroom incident that he was at J&K's place with a few other hackers/nerds when Jay started referring to something as big. Big. Now, because this story wouldn't be anything without it, the group then relocated to a Pizza Hut, where Pogue questioned Jay further about what big meant. And then, quote, Kay leaned forward and told me, just watch Channel 11 later tonight. Pogue wrote on Reddit, quote, all of his jokes constantly involved something childish and or sexually deviant. The video, for all intents and purposes, is a perfect reflection of Jay's sense of humor. scattered, nervous, and comically sexually deviant.
Sounds like me.
I look at the guy in the mask and all I see is Jay. That does sound like you. Scattered,
Yeah.
sexually deviant.
Talks about poop a lot, perhaps.
You do talk about poop. In 2008, Pogue updated the Reddit post, saying he and Rick Klein, chief curator of the Museum of Classic Chicago Television, had come across evidence that he believed exonerated J&K. While they could not go into great detail publicly, it seemed Klein and Pogue both were under the impression that it would have been nearly impossible for the hack to have been an outside job. The technology wasn't advanced enough for an amateur to have the tools to pull it off in the wild.
I love a guy starting a Reddit thread saying, I know who did this. And then later being like, they're exonerated. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
No one thought they did it except you.
Update. I was wrong
Yeah.
about everything. Though, of course, because this is Earth, where
It is?
everything you know is wrong.
Oh, shit.
All right, now that you've got your lay of the land, before I reveal whether or not this remains a mystery, who do you think out of these suspects did it?
I don't trust Reddit, so it's the last couple are out. Number 3, don't think that dude had that time. I'm actually going to go with 2, the
You
lifer.
think it was Al Skirkowitz?
Yeah, the guy who worked there for 40 years and then gave that podcast interview.
The genial employee of WTTW Channel 11.
I think he got tired of people not talking about it anymore, hence going on the podcast, and then tried to up his street cred in his own mind again.
Well, I don't want to point any fingers at Al personally, because he seems like a lovely man.
He's got lovely ass cheeks.
So you're going with Sweet Al.
I'm gonna go with Sweet Al.
Though, of course, because this is Earth, where everything you know is wrong, the internet has also pointed out the possibility that Pogue himself was the hacker, and his post could be a way of deflecting or distracting attention from himself while staying at the center of the dialogue, which brings us back to who knows. The Headroom Hooligan was never caught. Let the Max Headroom incident be a mystery.
Well, so it was a mystery.
Good job, whoever did it.
I'm glad that person didn't get caught, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to do. If you're just having fun and you're, getting your ass spanked on TV, go do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it for nefarious reasons. Just get your ass out there.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Well, Ryan, it's been a great season of doing whatever we're doing down here.
Oh, thanks, man. I like solving mysteries with you, or not solving them.
You never quite know, do you?
No, I never do.
Well, hey, thanks for watching Mystery Files. We'll see you next season.
I hope.
What if they replace us?
Like if we passed away, or just
If we both passed away.
Oh, okay.
If we both passed away. I love Pizza Hut. Hey, Pizza Hut, you want to sponsor season 2?
Yeah.
I love Pizza Hut.